Hey everyone, what is going on? Today I'm going to show you how you can drop the items from your inventory. Here's the preview. So I'm back in our inventory system, picking some items up. And then I can press I, click on an item and press E. And I can do this multiple times. And as you can see, my items just dropped here. Back in our project, the first thing we want to do is go to our input actions and create a new input mapping context. Call it IMC underscore menu controls. Add another one called IMC inventory controls. This will be used for activating and deactivating key bindings inside the inventory or inside the normal gameplay. Open up your game input and then let's copy the IA inventory and let's move it to the menu controls. Add a mapping here, open this up, say paste. As you can see, it moved this one here, and let's copy this one and paste it too. Make a new and then paste it there. So like this. Don't forget to remove the I from the game input. So we have the menu controls. Open the IMC inventory. And here will be our drop. So for that, we want a new input action. So go to input and type in input action underscore drop item. Open this one up, and inside here, first thing we want to check trigger when paused, because our game is paused when we're inside the menu. And then we want here again the pressed and released one, like so. And then let's go to the inventory controls, and here let's get the drop item. And I will press the E key with the selected key value selected. Click on it and press the E key. Now let's create a player controller where we map those things. So go into the world settings and then create a new player controller. I will call this PC underscore game. You can give it a name like your project or something like that. So inside here we go to the event graph. And from the event begin play, we also need an enhanced input local player subsystem. Keep in mind, this is only for 5.3 and upwards. So if you have an older version, you need to go with the classic way. But for the newer system, we want to do it like this. So we add here some mapping contexts. So we say when we start the player controller, we add the default. We want the menu controls to be assigned. And we also want to have the game input. The inventory controls, we want to map them when we need them. So at the moment, we can't press E to drop the items. And that's exactly what we want. Because what we want to do here is we want to have a function which is called register context. And we want to have a function which is called the register context. So we can call these two functions when we open our inventory or whatever system you have. And we can then say remove context. So for example, the player can't trace for new items when he's in the inventory. So we just remove it. Same goes for the register context. We copy this over. And there we say add mapping context. You will see in a few seconds what I try to achieve with that. Go to the character where we have our open and close inventory here. And what we want to do here is get the player controller We then cast to the PC_game. And then we want to register and deregister some contexts. So at the moment, when we press E, we pick up an item. But we want to drop an item when we're inside the inventory. So we register this new inventory controls, which has the DropItem E. And we deregister the context that has the pickup logic, which is this one. So here we have game input. And I just saw that we have to remove here the IA inventory with the gamepad button. I missed this one, so remove it. And then what we want to do here is copy this, go back to when we actually close the inventory, and then we want to switch this up. So here we want to have game input now, and here we want to have the inventory controls. So yeah. And for the communication, go to widgets, inventory, and inside here, we now want to have our input action drop item, like so. Now we need a new variable called player ref. It will be from type BP third person character, like so. And from that we get our AC inventory. And then we want to go to the AC inventory, and here we want to have a new function called remove single item. And back into our inventory, we call this function, like so, and make sure to connect it to the completed one. Also, we want to make sure to have this on instance editable and expose on spawn. So we can set this in our BP third person character, refresh the nodes, and as you can see, we have now the player ref, and this one will be self. Compile and go back to the inventory. Okay, now let's work on the remove or drop item. Here we want to have first an if branch. And we want, of course, have our inventory, and we want to find the item that we want to remove, like this. And if we find it, we want to do something. Break the found item and get the amount. We want to check if it's greater than 1. So if it's greater than 1, we decrease the item amount, and if it's 1, then we want to remove the item completely from the inventory. So for me, the fastest way is to set member in as Itemdata, and click here on the amount. From the amount, we want to decrease this one, or subtract 1, and then we get the inventory and we add again. And what the add does, it says here that if something already uses the key, it will be overridden. So we use this small trick here, and the one we want to add is the key. So use this local variable that comes from here, and then just get the struct out and put it in. So it will be overridden with 1 amount decreased. And then I like to return with the status, like item fully removed, which will be false. And then we want to have the new item data for the inventory, so we don't need to refresh the whole inventory system on the widget, like so. And for the fully removed part, we want to promote this to a local variable, deleted item. So we have it saved somewhere in case we need it. Then we want first to remove the item from the item inventory. And again, here also use the key. And like before, we want to have the return node. This time we use item fully removed and new item data will be null. Go back to your inventory, and here, now let's get in isValid. Go back to your inventory, and here let's get the last click slot, and let's get the isValid. And let's check if this one is valid before we remove the item. So now what we want to do is we want to get the item data, and then we want to break this, and we want to connect the name to the key. Then from the item fully removed, if the item was fully removed, we want to get our scroll box with the item container, and we want to remove child from it, so we can remove the item, slot item. Connect this to the true, and this one will be our last clicked slot, like so. And for the next part, we need to go to the item slot again, go to the event graph, and inside here, add a custom event. Call this update item data. You can also make a function, but it doesn't really matter. So get the item data, and from that we want to set it from the outside. Compile and save. Go back to the inventory, and inside here we want to get the last click slot, and from that one we want to update item data, and this one will be our false branch, and the item data we want to update is the new item data from the remove single item, so the item that has the amount decreased by 1. And what we also want to do is change the visibility of the vertical box item info. So we set visibility, and when we remove the item, we want to set it back to hidden. What you also can do is, after you have removed the item, you can set the last click slot to null. So we removed it, so yeah, just make it null. And after that, we want to set the inventory, or we want to update the inventory with the inventory from the AC inventory. Get AC inventory and then get the inventory, like so. And last but not least, we want to update the selected item when we update also the clicked item. So get the selected item here, which is the item that we use for the info box, and we also paste in the new item data. Then one important thing I forgot to mention is go to your player controller, and inside here search for tick and make a check on the tick even when paused, so we can actually add the context while we are in our inventory, because we paused the game there. Compile. And one thing I also saw while testing is that I picked the wrong branch for the false part, so we need the second one. If it's a less than 1, we want to remove it, and not if we didn't actually find an item, so this was wrong. And now we can compile and start and test it out. Open your inventory, click on the iron, press 2 times E, and as you can see, it got removed and also removed everything else. And the last part of this video should be the item drop into the world. So for that, let's go back to the inventory, open our item data and add a variable called item class. And we pick up master item as class reference. Then go back to the inventory, and inside here we want a new function called trace from above, and for that we make a sphere trace by channel, like so, and we get the connected actor, and from that we get the mesh, from which we get the world location, and this one gets an add, and this will be our start position. So what we also want to get is the follow camera. And from that we want to get the forward vector. We multiply this with, I would do a float value here, which I will pick for 200. So this will get the player location as the start point and the forward vector from the camera plus 200 as the position where we drop. So let's break the vector, and I want to split this one so we can add the X and Y value, and for the Z we can choose an own value. So this will be our start position in front and above the character, and our end position will be the start position with the same X and Y values, but here we want to trace beneath the player, so something like -1000. This will be our endpoint. Let's get a radius of 5, and let's make for duration. And if we hit something we want to break, whoops, not this one, but we want to, oh, I see I have a multi-sphere. Change it to sphere trace by channel solo, so we don't get here problems. So like this, and now we can get a single break hit result, like so. Don't forget to change those values again, and then let's return. When we hit something, we want to give the impact point position, and if we don't hit something, we want to give the trace end. This is just an example. You can use your own trace mechanic. I will put this in here so that we can see it in action. So play, pick some items up, and now let's drop this item. And as you can see, there was the impact point, and there the item will spawn. So the last thing we want to do here now is get a new function called spawn item. And inside here we have a spawn actor from class. We connect the class to the spawn item, and for that we make transform, not this one, make transform this one, and here we can get the position in. So call this position, make sure that it is a vector, and then we want to add a little Z offset so we don't clip into the ground. And then back here we can now get our spawn item, we connect the impact point, and then from here we click the item and we get our new item class. We can copy this and then we can paste this here in, like so, and the same goes for here. Connect this, and then we have to edit our weapon master. Go into the sorry, not the weapon master, but the pickup master, and inside here we need a new class or new variable called item class, and this will be our BP a underscore master pickup item, but as a reference, like this. Connect those. Yeah, make it instantable, editable, instance editable, and expose on spawn. And then we go back to our iron, and inside here we can now give it a reference to self, like so. And you have to do it for all of your items, but we will just now test it, this will take too much time. So open your inventory, click on the iron, press E, and as you can see, the item drops in front of me. Keep in mind that this trace from above is not suitable for a game where we have a lot of houses or other things where we can hide under, because item would spawn above the player, which is not correct. So yeah, this is just for testing, and in a future video I think I will make some traces that make random spawns around the player. And we are finally finished. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. If you have any suggestions for future tutorials, come join our Discord and share your ideas with us. Have a nice day. Bye.